All right, so I've been seeing this request a lot, the S24 Plus versus the S24 FE. A lot of people want to know what are the differences, and should you spend, the extra money and, get the S24 Plus. Now, it is going to be in the used refurbished marketplace, like the one I got here in excellent condition. The S24 FE, you can actually find this new for around the same price. So that's kind of the interesting thing here. Is it worth to just get the S24 Plus as a used refurbished phone, or should you just get the new, just a new S24 FE? So pretty interesting because they're actually both around the same price. The S24 FE, in my opinion, should be a little bit cheaper. But let's go ahead and just dive in. And first off, the design is going to look pretty similar. There are some slight differences with the design here. And first thing that kind of pops out is definitely going to be this glossy finish versus the matte finish. I don't mind the glossy finish at all. You don't really see fingerprints on this FE at all, so that's one thing that I really like. And I mean, they look identical in terms of design. They're both IP68 dust and water resistant as well, so there's not really too much going on here as far as the design. They look pretty much the same. So let's see. Let's look at those camera rings. The camera rings are a little bit different. It looks like the FE has slightly thicker camera rings, and they're a little bit bigger. You guys can kind of see that. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, it's like these small little subtle differences, but nothing really too different here. Where you see an immediate difference is with the display. So the first thing that pops out is that the FE has some very chunky bezels. They're uneven as well. Yeah, so that's kind of the first thing. In the punch hole is a little bit bigger. The S24 Plus just has the prettier, looking display. So it looks better. It looks more expensive from the front, basically. Both of these phones are 6.7-inch displays, and they're both 120 hertz. They're both HDR10 plus. Where they differ the most, in something that I noticed, is that the S24 Plus is a lot brighter outdoors at 2600 nits versus the 1900 nits on the FE here. And the resolution is also much better on the S24 Plus. It's a 1440p display versus the 1080p panel on the FE. It also does have a higher PPI at 513 versus the 385 on the FE. So it just overall just looks sharper. It looks better when you're looking at the 2K content, and I think the colors also look better to me. I have vividness slider turned up on both of these. So I would say if you're like a display person, you really like watching, movies and TV shows on your phone, I just think the experience is a lot more enjoyable. The FE is definitely a great display. It's not a bad panel at all. But if you are someone who's really into displays, like I said, maybe you're outdoors a lot more, yeah, the S24 Plus is going to be the better panel here. It's brighter, it looks better, and yeah, so that's kind of my opinion about the displays here. But like I said, the FE panel is not bad at all. All right, the performance on these two phones is very good. I would say if you're a heavier user, like a mobile gamer, or doing like editing on your phone and stuff like that, the S24 Plus is the one to get here. They're both running Android 15 right now. They both have I believe a 6 or 7 year pledge. 7-year pledge. And performance wise, they're pretty similar when it comes to general performance here. It's not really going to be that much different here when it comes to animation and speed. But like I said, if you are someone who plays a lot of games and stuff like that, you have a stronger processor here. With the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 on the S24 Plus here, 256 gigs of internal storage, 12 gigs of RAM on the base model. With the FE, you do have the Exynos 2400E processor, 128 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM. So if you get, both the base models here, better multitasking on the S24 Plus, and just better performance in general when it comes to gaming. You can see almost 30 frames versus the almost 18 frames here. And I don't have heating issues with the FE as well, which is very good. So I've had pretty good experience with the Exynos processor, but I think it's pretty clear that, if you are someone who's a heavier user, just go ahead and spend like that extra 60 bucks. What is it? Probably like 70 bucks after tax, and just get the Plus. If you're not, then like I said, the FE is perfectly fine. You can see it's extremely similar in performance. But if we started doing video editing, 4K video editing, if we started, we'll hop into PUBG, stuff like that, you can see like the difference. And this 8 Gen 3 is a bit more optimized as well too for gaming. So just again, basically what I've been saying, it's just going to be a little bit better. But it's not like the FE is laggy or anything like that. Extremely similar. Yeah, the plus might be a little bit quicker, but it's not like it's like if you don't have them side by side, you really wouldn't notice here. Yeah, so you can see it's just a little bit quicker. But I've been impressed with the FE, and excited to see what Samsung is doing with this S25 FE. Let's go ahead and open up PUBG here. So one of the differences in performance is going to be for games like PUBG. You can see we're able to play at 120 frames. It's a lot smoother than the 90 frames that we will get on the S24 FE. So I mean, like I said, it just really depends. But again, if you are someone who's a mobile gamer, Genshin and emulators and stuff like that, you will get much better performance with the Plus model than going with the FE. But the FE is pretty good for, just coming in here casual gaming. We can play at 90 frames. Still very fast, very smooth. So again, no issues there. The software experience is pretty much going to be the same for the most part here. We do have Galaxy AI on both of these phones here. And I believe we pretty much have, we have all the same features. So if you are someone who is interested in the Galaxy AI, you're not going to be missing out if you do decide to go with a S24 FE. And stuff like the Samsung desktop support is here as well too, which is nice. Your updated Gemini is on here. Circle to Search is on here as well. Let's check out these speakers. I'm curious to see which speaker is better. We're at max volume. We'll start with the FE. So I do actually kind of like the sound more on the FE. It does have a heavier bass. It's not that the S24 Plus doesn't. Yeah, so for like this particular song that's very bass heavy, it just sounds better on the FE. They both sound pretty similar. I think I personally am kind of leaning towards the FE in terms of fullness. But the speakers are pretty good on both, so there's no issue there. Where you will find a difference, and it's not like a huge difference, but it is noticeable if you do, like going from an ultrasonic that the S24 has, and then you kind of downgrade to this optical one, it's just a tad bit slower. It's not even, I don't know if most people would really, you might not notice it, but it's just a little bit slow. It feels like it's like maybe like 0.5 seconds a little bit slower. But this one is pretty good. It's not bad. But the big difference is that you can kind of tap the ultrasonic. You can't tap these. So you got to hold it a little bit. With the ultrasonic, you can literally just tap it and it goes right in. The cameras are pretty similar on both. They both have a 50 megapixel standard. Now, where they differ is that the S24 FE has an 8 megapixel telephoto lens, and that is 3 times optical, gets you up to 30 times zoom. And then you also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide, 8K 30 video, 10 megapixel selfie, shoots in 4K 60. The Plus has a 10 megapixel telephoto, and it has a 3 times optical, also 30 times zoom, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 8K 24 and 30, 12 megapixel selfie, can shoot in 4K 60 just like the FE. So let me know what you guys think about the photos and video. Surprisingly, the battery life has been very good on both. It's actually extremely similar. Even though the S24 Plus has a slightly bigger battery, it's a 4900 milliamp hour battery. I do feel like I get a little bit better screen on time with my Plus, but for me, it's not really noticeable because the way I use my phones, I'm not a heavy gamer. So both these phones can pretty much last all day. The FE has a 4700 milliamp hour battery, and it does charge slower. Is one thing that you kind of notice. It's 25 watts versus the 45 watts only Plus. And they both have the same specs when it comes to wireless and reverse wireless charging. So I would say battery is not a big concern here. There's not a huge advantage. I don't think the S24 Plus has that much better battery life. But yeah, so I personally would choose the S24 Plus. I just really like the display on here. It looks really good. The stronger chipset is definitely nice if you are a gamer, but for me that's not really relevant because the S24 Plus does a really good job. So it really comes down to that, what you think about the image quality as well too. But let me know what you guys think.